One note. So today is 4/5/2020. Last week, what did we say? 0 demos, 0 topics, status, update, branches were merged, PR were merged. Today we have a demo from Hisham, aka Zoltan.
Yes, just with my voice.
Zoltan voice. And any other demo?
Hisham also told me to share a few links, maybe the same that he asked to Zoltan.
I see the first week Zoltan has that. Then demo topics. We have a topic from Mike about ModuleAttribute. See after that. First,
Sure.
status, orchard one. Orchard one. So what was the day? 29. We merged stuff. We merged Xcode with medialibrary plugin where I had forgotten to replace an instance. Okay, so fix it on bug. Handlers to redirect editing users to correct controllers. So new driver/handlers to define route values for users. In the admin, create and edit. Such that the URLs look nicer, probably. I need the missing minification files because some files were not minified, so we fixed it. Archives, admin and archives. Okay, easy. Just that they are generated automatically by our scripts, but they were not defined in the resources, so they were not used. Actually, something I should have asked, are they actually correctly generated? Oops, so. So also goes orchard block should, okay. So that's orchard one, orchard core. This is in section 29. Here we have this one fixes liquid eye. So this is the things that we merged during the meeting. So liquidation content to be able to use the raw tag or the output tag on any HTML content like notifications, shapes, but shapes notifications. Kevin fixed an issue with recipes. What recipes? Probably related to summarize languages, I don't remember. Fix roles module documentation from Lombiq. Is that from Lombiq, right?
Yes.
Is okay, because there is a Z and there is a CS. It's like it's Hungarian. How do you pronounce these things?
Yeah, it's Szabolcs. Szabolcs.
Is the first name?
Yes, Szabolcs is the first name.
Thank you, Szabolcs. Fix roles module documentation. Okay. Other file. Okay. Fix HTML validation errors in the admin UI. Decrease settings. Yeah, those casing don't matter. Just nicer. But HTML validation errors. Not sure how it relates to validation errors.
Yeah, those were more like accessibility errors, I think.
So maybe accessibility validation.
Yeah.
Creating content portrait shape using ShapeResult to support placement. We merged this one, fixes multiple issues with how you customize content part and importantly, apparently the black part, the part, customization is in the admin and positioning. That's good. Lots of PR feedback, but they took that into account, so pretty well. Fix some UI regressions. Oh, okay. So reverting the changes for some of them. Yeah, okay. Add, and then again, add back typing and with equals button on an internal item. So okay, back again. I assume that's the last one. No, this is today, so there might be more tomorrow. Okay. That's okay. Joins, Therese, Jasma. Good questions, comments on these changes? Should not. So demo from Zoltan/Isham.
Yep. Just a second. And let me actually share share a corresponding link in the chat. Yeah. Because what we are talking about is Orchard core contribs.modules. So if you didn't know, Hisham has, and finally I will find my window. Yes, so now you should be able to see my screen as well. Hisham has this Orchard core contrib organization with a couple of projects under it. And well, the modules one is about a lot of Orchard core modules. I would like to talk about two of these today. The first being the Swagger module. The Swagger is, of course, the Swagger, you all know, for API documentation. The point here is that this provides easy integration. So let me actually show you that. If you run the app and add this module, you will see these two features being available now. And if you enable them, then, well, you get, first of all, a Swagger JSON-based API documentation. So yeah, the usual stuff. It's available under this default URL. And the same thing is also available under this URL with the nice Swagger UI. This, just as Swagger does, automatically shows all registered API endpoints. So if you add documentation to them, these will show up here. Well, these don't have docs. And of course, you can play with them as you can do with Swagger in any context. And by the way, Hisham also included a recipe in this solution. So if you like to play with this module or with any other modules, this will actually be enabled by default already. Well, specifically under a subtenant called block. So yeah, easy Swagger integration.
What do you mean about the automatically integrated or enabled? Or?
So as I mentioned, in this solution, there's
the recipe. I see. There is a recipe with a blog and Swagger. Okay, good.
Yeah, so there's a recipe to demonstrate these modules. It's quite cool. And I also have a second thing to show you. A cool little utility. The module is called module itself is called Content Preview, but the actual feature that I would like to talk about, well, the only feature, is this page preview bar. Once you enable it, and this is something that you should only enable in a local environment or during development or somehow during testing. Oops. is yeah, preview bar. Then when you visit the site, you will see this this toolbar here, and as you can see from the buttons, you can use this to preview the app in another screen size, well, a smaller screen size. So by default, you are on desktop. If you go to tablets, that will be a smaller one, and mobile or the small screen design can be tried out with this search button.
That's cool. A question, can you define different sizes or other form factors?
I don't think so, but I think this would be a good, not. I think this would be a good thing to suggest Hisham do that. So, if you'd like to see that, please go here and open an issue. Hisham is very receptive of feedback. I linked it in the chat.
The developer extensions, they provide that already from there?
Yeah, of course. This is a shortcut or a different way to do that, or for non-technical users in the test environment.
There is the same feature, but for actual preview. So maybe it's rated to, maybe it's a part of the demo you didn't do, but I know Niraj made a module exactly the same way, where when you it's actually visible for all the preview modes. Like when you edit a content item and you click on preview, this is enabled automatically on the preview mode, and you can change the media size also. So who copied who? Interesting.
I see. Well, then probably Hisham and Niraj should cooperate on this. Yes, that would be actually very useful. But that
yeah, I think the demo flow should be to edit a content item and click on the preview button, and this will show up, I believe so.
I think that should happen here as well. Let me quickly try.
Because if you go to, because of the slash preview, if you go to the blog without the slash preview, no, so it doesn't. Okay, so there are two, there is an issue here.
Yeah,
but I think that's the point. You see the blog preview, that's the goal, I assume, to show it in the preview mode when you edit the content, and you can see automatically what it looks like in different sizes. Yeah, and you're actually the same thing. Okay, that's good. It works.
Well, yeah, it covers a specific use case. And please, if you're interested in these, please go to the repository and provide feedback to Hisham. I did that as well.
You show the list of other modules just to see.
Yeah,
I have an idea of what's available.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't know. Swagger, content preview, data localization might be rated to the JSON localization files that he supports. And diagnostics, Gmail, Hotmail, what could it be? To use them as senders? Yeah, probably like SendGrid. Yahoo.
I'm not sure.
SendGrid definitely to send emails.
And Hisham also asked me to talk about the data localization module.
Okay, go on.
All right.
But I will only share the link. So this one about the README of the module in the chat, and it refers also to an issue in the repository on GitHub about a previous pull request, and at the end of the comments there is a few recording screen to GIF to show how it can work.
Okay, let's see.
Enable the data localization module.
Where is that? Where is this?
At the bottom.
Okay, so I want to see.
So there is a new feature, data localization, and a new menu will appear on the left when you enable it. Configuration, localization, data localization. And below there is another one for the content fields, specifically to edit the values in other languages for the fields.
When you say another one, you mean another link or another feature?
If you scroll down, there is another screen to.
Oh, that's the same demo that doesn't show when the types are. Or did I miss that? Did I miss when it's translated? I didn't see it translated. You said another. Okay, that's what I want to see here. The far so good. Far so good. Beautiful. Okay, that's what I want. Okay. Perfect. That's what there is a space here, but I assume that's for UI. That will work also. Should it be a localized? Should this thing be itself a localized text? That might be useful. Okay, can I pause on that?
No.
Pause. Okay, so let me check if there is another video. Seb, I'm suggesting.
Maybe
as expected. Okay, so I will explain how it works, because that's something we designed a while ago, and Hicham has been working on that on and off based on the feedback we are providing. So it was as fast as the feedback we gave, which is slow. And when I say that, it's because the feedback was slow. So that's why you could not progress as fast as you wanted. So the idea is that everything that is dynamic value, database value, example, content types. Yes, all the types are stored in database. And when you start a website, you don't know the types. When you develop a website, you don't know the types. There is no types typed in code. Okay, are all dynamic. Or field values, or admin menus. Everything that is not a content item that is localizable can't be localized today because it's dynamic value. So you can't create a PO file that will have the values, or you will have to hardcode the PO file with the values. And if you change the value in the database, you have to change the PO file. It's unmanageable. So the idea is to have a third localizer service, which is not iString localizer, which is not IHtml localizer, but it's iData localizer. This thing takes two arguments. First, a string to translate person, and the type of thing that this is, a content type. And here, the person here is a string, but concretely, it won't be a string. It will be a variable. It will be content type.name, okay, because you don't know what will be the content type.name. But this is a localizer that accepts variables here. And you also provide a category such that when you edit the localizations, you can see the list of values for this category that are available, because on top of this category, there is a category provider that will let you implement the list of values, dynamic values for this category. So for content type management, you need to expose a content type name provider that will list all the content types, so that the editor, when it sees content type here, when it sees there is a content type provider, so it will be able to list all the content types and store all the values, all the translations for that. It's like crowding, but in the admin. So such that when you say display person or display content type.name, then it will look up for the thing you entered in the database and the translation. So that works well. Okay. And when you say there are multiple supports, it's because if I go on the data localization module, there must be content field resource string provider and a content type resource string provider. The idea being that any module can provide its own resource string provider, such that people will be able to localize anything that is dynamic. Having a space here means that it's used for display, but I think here we should not have that. We should have IHtmlContent because we want to be able to localize it. Or use a string like this, but not in this case, but somehow, yeah, maybe we need iLocalize string or IHtmlContent because we want to be able to localize that itself, such that in French we'll see the French representation of that. Because otherwise you have to put S or T on that, which I assume in this case not good because it's a constant. Unless, oh, crazy idea, maybe that's what it's doing. If not, that could be a crazy idea, but a very good idea. Well, why not? Maybe, maybe not. To have that also be a resource string provider, such that you can localize all these things, but they are static. So, I mean, we should be able to provide them in the crowding. So this should be localizable, definitely. So don't have the static string here, but have the localization, have it localized.
There's also a demo in the last comment about the content field localization.
Oh, here, sorry, I didn't see that. Okay, let's see. You see, because you want that to be localized also. That's a different UI. No, that's a different UI. No, that's not how it should be done. Why make a different UI? We should see all content types and content field in this page. Maybe we can be clever by having a group in the list. So we can group stuff by content type or by something else for every page, but this should be the same page. You should not require a different page for content fields or content types. So menu entry is fine, but it should point to the same admin view with the same logic, the same table, because we don't want every resource string provider to have to implement their own table. We just want to be able to list values. So the fact that you require a content type here is a bad idea, I think. It's a lot of work for nothing. Just need to have a grouping, the category and the group. But the group is not defined by the entry in the D call, it's defined by the resource string. So the resource string provider returns a list of values which are grouped by something. And the group, you can reuse it. The same way we do permissions. Same kind of editor for permissions. For content types, there are no group, but for content field, there is a group that is written with a value, which is, or there is a default group, but for content field, there are multiple groups. Each group is a content type. And you can reuse the same screen. And you might, or maybe that's how it's done, but I don't think so. Let's see, what did I miss here? Culture dictionary record key, blah, 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 select new content type. Yeah, it's a content field. Maybe type context, maybe that's actually how it's done with a format like this here. Investigated, maybe that's how it's done. But I see a space in content types, I'm not sure. But yeah, this thing here, content field. Yeah, maybe this is the thing to change, or this is already supported, and I don't understand how the content type with a space appears, but it would be something to do. Okay, cool. But yeah, we need to translate that. So that looks promising. I like it. And yeah, then people will ask for the features like, oh, export to PO files or import PO files, conversions, stuff like that. That looks good. Thanks for the demos, Isham and representatives of Isham.
And we also wanted to share a link about the Nordchart core site.
Made by Isham?
I guess so, yes.
Let's translate it.
It's about a tourist guide association.
Nice. Good. Let's be sure it's true. It's good. I know what it is. But that I know what it is. Awesome. Custom reading form. Nice. Maybe it's a different site. I don't know. But whatever. Interesting. Okay. Thanks, Antoine. Thanks, Zoltan. Questions, comments about that, what we saw? That. Yeah, that's something we should not be able to see. Not even a shape. Might it be a shape? Maybe that could be a reason, but I don't want to see that. There should be one thing which is edit resource, manage resource, not manage content feed, not manage content type, because we don't, it needs to be extensible. That's it. And this will require also an abstraction module, so you can reference just the abstraction for implementing the resource provider. File data, string provider. Maybe there is actually, but I don't see it there. Noise. No, I can't find the interface file, so interesting. Yep, I don't know where. Okay. Session manager, get translation documentation. Okay, good. Thanks everyone for these demos. Next topics.
Yes.
Michael.
Can I share my screen?
Yep.
Let's see. Where's that request control?
You don't request control. You click on share screen. Unless you are not a presenter, but I think everyone is here. You are, like everyone. You see a share button?
I'm trying to find it. Okay, I think I have it.
You are a presenter, that's good. We can see.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so the goal here is that I'm adding a couple of constructors primarily to the module attribute so that I can feed that with information during MSBuild targets. That's extending also, I guess, to ThemeAttribute and the base class FeatureAttribute. So I've got a couple of unit tests to demo that. I've worked on. So the FeatureAttribute tests, I've got module attribute tests. They're demoing a couple of the constructors from the language perspective and from the CS project perspective. And let's see, then there's also the theme attribute that I do the same. I have constructor perspective and CS project perspective there. So I'm basically just taking a couple of the elements and generating some random words, tags and dependencies and so forth.
Can you explain the context of why you are doing that? Because we talked about it during triage, which is not recorded, so I'm sure.
Yeah, so
in triage as like.
So the goal there is I want to be able to feed the MSBuild assembly attribute with information about my versions, maybe company name and other aspects, package tags or what have you, during an MSBuild target, not necessarily as a manifest.cs source file. So that's the goal with that one. Maybe if I open a.
So you made it work, and it works now?
I have made it work. I've got a couple of supporting questions maybe to get some better understanding about. Let's see. So I've got a couple of projects here that demo that. So here I can define my assembly attribute. This happens to be the module attribute. And here I'm giving it the ID, name, category. This is what I really want, the version, author, description. Maybe there are package tags that I want to include, dependencies, tags, that sort of thing. The tricky part about working with MSBuild is that MSBuild treats everything like a string, even things you would think of as Boolean or integer, that sort of thing. So that was a bit tricky. Let's see, in terms of priority. So there's already the string priority. To accommodate that, I'm treating tenant always enabled as objects, and then doing a simple type check on the parser pass through, depending on what the type is I'm looking for. Given the object value, maybe a string or a Boolean in this case, and the parser. If value is null, I just return the default. If the value is the type, then I let it pass through. Otherwise, I'm parsing the string if it was a string, and I throw an exception when it's something else that we don't expect.
Why not convert to?
Say again?
Convert dot. What's the name? Convert dot change type or something like that.
Yeah, that might work. I don't know. I just gave it the Boolean parse in that case. That's my callback.
Yeah, but you have to say what it is. If you, yeah, there is a method in .NET convert.change type, and then you say what it is, and whatever is the input, it will convert it to the correct type.
Okay.
Based on, I'm sure, all the same thing that you try to do, like, oh, does it look like true? Okay, then parse it. Or is it 1 or 0? Okay, then convert it to Boolean, something like that.
Okay, I'll look into that.
Convert to change type. Or convert.change type.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see what else. The module marker came up as kind of a question. I saw that during the targets, I guess there's a module marker being injected there, and I'm not sure, is that intentional, or that kind of leaves things open in my mind to possible spoofing or counterfeiting of this module attribute. So I wonder what the justification was for that, and
Jean-Thierry would know. I don't remember exactly what's done there. Maybe such that when you don't have manifest.cs with the attribute, we can generate this thing dynamically for projects like that don't have the manifest file.
Okay, I mean, if that's the case, should we just ignore the assembly as and it's not being a module? I guess that's the question. I can follow that up with John though.
Yeah, it will tell. I don't remember.
Okay. That was one question, and the other question I had was on the context, the module application context. Assuming that modules declare themselves to be a module, then I wonder if maybe this could simplify, because it's doing a lot of the same type of question, I think. Do I have an application name? Is it the application? Otherwise, is it a module? And creating the module on the same kind of question. Assuming it self-declares and we discover it as a module attribute with a module attribute, then maybe that simplifies too. I don't know. Like just through the dependency injection.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. Maybe the module and module attributes are two different things. So it's just a representation of the module itself.
Right. The signature is I'm a module.
Yeah. So yeah, module can't be replaced by module attributes. There are two different things. One is this is the view model of modules, and module attribute is to describe the module from a build perspective. But this one here has nothing to do with the build. It's just internal representation of modules, of list of modules. Well, you might even have a module that is not based, that doesn't have a module attribute.
Why would that be the case? You would have an assembly that's a module that doesn't have a module
attribute, like the application you see here, the line 60. I believe the goal is to say that the application you are running, your application, your entry point is also a module for Orchard, because it can provide services, views, and it's higher and themes, and it's higher priority. So from the system perspective, it's also a module. And that's what it's saying here. It doesn't have the module attribute, but it says, take this assembly as a module because it's the app and it can provide services and we have to order them with other modules. And it has higher priority. So if something is defined in this module, it has more priority than any other module that is referenced.
Okay, I get that, but wouldn't it also have the module attribute?
For either.
It's a top level application.
So because we don't want users to have to write these attributes all the time. We want it to be like magic. And we just say, yeah, it's the application, so let's take it as a module. We don't require users to do it. Because there is no reason they will not want it to be a module. Or if they have to type it, they won't know they have to type it. And when they try to add a service, a view, or whatever, it won't be part of the resolution like the other modules, and people will be, no, it doesn't work. I can't. They don't, yeah. So that's why. Because people won't know they have to add the attribute. And technically, you don't need to add the attribute. It's just if you want to provide metadata, you add the attribute.
Okay.
And so that's why we are.
So the default perspective is if you don't have the attribute there, then it falls through to sort of a dummy proxy, just a module marker.
Yes, let's pick up the name of the assembly to use as a module name, and
yeah.
And we did that. So initially, like in Orchard 1, it was not an attribute, it was not code, it was just a text file, a manifest file in a text file. And we would parse the text file. But for Orchard Core, we decided to go with an attribute because then it's code first and you have IntelliSense. And you can compile, so you will prevent issues with formatting the YAML file and stuff like that. So now it's just metadata as code.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Yeah, but otherwise, my tests are all passing at least the assumptions that I think are there.
And thinking about it, so imagine that you don't have a module attribute and you have an assembly attribute. Would it work for you if Orchard was actually picking up, creating the module based on the properties from the assembly attribute?
Well, that was the idea, is that I've got my assembly properties in the CS project already, so why not just relay them? They're already built targets that assemble the assembly info.cs magically anyway, right? So the same sort of principle.
Yeah, but maybe that's something that Orchard should do too, if it's not doing it already, which I find weird. Maybe we should be able to do that, like even the properties like the fit. Oh, no, you can't do that with ASP. Well, you could do that in some cases because a module can have multiple features. So the description, for instance, you can define it at the module level, but you can also define it at the feature level. And with the CS project, you can't define features. You could have custom properties like dependency or whatever. Description you have, version you have, but dependency and so on, you don't have them. We could add them and read them from the CS project. But we can't support multiple values for them. Or we should have tags that have a convention like feature.description. You see, like, I don't know, localization.description, localization.version, if we want to define the properties in the CS project.
Yeah.
That would be doable, honestly, if in the code you are showing here, the module CS, or what is creating the module objects, the one that is, you see, line 42. It's getting the module attribute.
Yes.
So maybe it says, oh, if there is no module attribute, then let's pick up the properties from other attribute like the assembly version, the assembly attribute, or other properties in the assembly. Maybe that would be
yeah, from the assembly get custom attributes call, that's kind of late in the game. Let me see if I can find.
For you, it's too late because, yeah, that's what you say.
Yeah. What's that module? It's a target. On the targets, right? So this is where you would define that. You can have conditions on this as well, right? There are conditions you can put on there if you want. This is defining the two, the ID and the type. It's overriding either, like in this case, module or theme. You can define your own type.
Yeah, but nobody really wants to touch this.
Well, no, but you do it once in your project and you're done.
Yeah.
You never think about it again. But
yeah.
Okay.
So are you sending a PR to have these changes in?
I will have. I just had those couple of questions to clarify. And
the issue is that Jean-Thierry has the best knowledge on that because he wrote all the things here, all the logic, dynamic stuff, reading the attributes. Yeah, we came with the crazy ideas and how we want things to work, and he's like, okay, I will do some magic to work.
But as an author, as a module author, as a feature author, you know, that's what I want to be able to do, this type of thing at my project level. So,
yep.
So I'll get that PR pulled together probably next day or so.
We'll see. Thank you.
Yep.
Questions, comments from anyone? That is in the chat. Thierry says, I proudly created my first multi-tenant site and it works. I mean, that's the first thing everyone does with Orchard Core, create a multi-tenant site. What are you doing? Or is it just in production now and we can see it? Beautiful.
What do you mean?
I mean,
first time in production.
Is the first time in production?
Production, yes, first time.
Ah, that's great. That's better because I mean, creating a multi-tenant site, yeah, everyone does that. So You just click on the SaaS recipe and you have that. Good. But if you have one running, that's great. Will you show us? Will you share a link sometime? You want to do a demo next week or one day? We can just share the links if you want and we'll look at it later.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great to know that we can do that.
The only question is that we didn't need it this time, but can we assign a subdomain instead of?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Good.
You can even do star.domain so that all the domains, whatever it is, goes to the same tenant. Or you can do a specific tenant dot another domain dot, and that works.
Okay, super.
You can check the unit test to see all the things you can do. Really good unit test. It's better than Orchard 1. We rewrote everything twice, and now it supports all the crazy things you can imagine. Okay. And even with fallback to upload domains, I think it will pull back. Like if you have a subdomain or a subdomain you can't find, it will go to the subdomain, something like this. Remember.
Okay,
yeah.
Good to know. It was needed this time, but yeah.
And that's the goal, right? Like if you have a software as a service called bakeries.com, you could have like sotiris.bakeries.com or antoine.bakeries.com with different tenants. So that's the goal.
Okay.
So eager to seeing the website live introduction. Thank you. Other questions? Everyone is back on the same time zone now. Good to see for the next year.
For the next 6 or 8 months, yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
for the last time.
Not the last time, because in November we'll switch again. In March next year we switch again. It's just in November 2023 that the US is getting rid of the summer time zone.
Europe was supposed to have it 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, but there was COVID. There was COVID, so they had to report everything. Okay, but yeah, so good. But in Europe, so you mentioned Greece or Europe? It's for Europe. If they do that in Europe, it will be for the world Europe, right? Not for just Greece or France or
it will be a European decision.
Yeah. Yes. But at the same time, Greece is plus 1 hour from Paris.
Yes.
So is Poland. So that might be well, that same thing. You can still skip. Yeah, it will still. Yeah, good. That's good. Yeah, we'll see. So we are all on the same time zone until next November. Or September, yeah, October. I don't know. Plus, I don't know. I can't remember. I think it's November, but it seems like a long time ago. Okay. Well, anything else for Orchard? Yeah, no, that time has to change everything again. Did you change your Surface laptop? No, it's ordered. It's been 2 months. I'm still waiting. So I can't do anything else than Teams because not enough memory. Oh. Okay. Thanks, everyone. See you on Thursday for triage or next Tuesday.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thanks again for the demos.